As you all know that dog-human issues are very different from region to region, from country to country. At the beginning of our research, we wanted to understand how people value roaming dogs. We already know that there are roaming dogs everywhere, but how people think about them, it is really important to inform our own campaign. Therefore, in 2018, we started by asking a research agency to conduct an insight survey in these 5 countries. They are Kenya, India, Thailand, China, and Brazil. Our respondents include dog owners and non-dog owners. The perception of dog owners varies from 39% in China to 77% in Brazil. The result represents the overall status of roaming dogs and dog population management in these areas, and our own Better Life for Dogs campaign was designed based on the result. At the beginning, we asked all the dog owners, what have you done to your dogs? This is a bunch of behaviors that we list as responsible dog owners. The result showed out that there are more popular behaviors among the dog owners. For example, vaccination against rabies or vaccination against other diseases. But there are also less adopted behaviors among the dog owners, such as collaring, sterilization, training, registration, and microchipping and tagging. Please notice the percentage of dog owners do microchipping or tagging is as low as 12% over the 5 countries. There are definitely a difference between countries. For example, in Kenya and China, their acceptable rate of sterilization is lower than the other 3 countries. Then we asked all the respondents, what do they think is acceptable behavior towards dogs? It is different from what dog owners has been doing. There's definitely a higher request for sterilization and microchipping. Over half of all the respondents feel it is okay for dogs to roam freely. However, also 46%, almost half, feel chaining dogs is okay. There are also a certain percentage of people who accept euthanasia, culling, or killing. The country difference is huge on roaming, chaining, and culling, these 3. For example, in Brazil, the acceptance of roaming is as high as 70%. But in Kenya, this is as low as 17%. Let's focus on roaming. We asked the dog owners, where do your dogs have access to during daytime and nighttime? This is what showed up. In total, 30% of dog owners allow their dogs to roam during daytime. 20% allow them to roam at nighttime. Overall, there are more freedom in rural areas compared to urban areas. Then we asked all the respondents, how do you feel about owned dogs compared to roaming dogs? This is the difference. The green part is how do people feel about owned dogs. There are more positive description with owned dogs. But the yellow part of roaming dogs, there are more negative description or feelings towards them. We also ask all the respondents, besides what you feel about roaming dogs, do you ever take care of them? This is the result of it. Over half of all the respondents said, yes, we care for roaming dogs. We do something to care for them. And in Thailand, this number is as high as 80%. In India, it's 70%. The other 3 are respectively lower. When we ask all the people who care for roaming dogs, what have you done? The majority of them said, we provide food or water, those kind of basic need for the roaming dog to survive. There are also a list of other behavior people do to roaming dogs, such as play with them, provide shelter, provide medical care, those kind of things. Then we ask the people who care for roaming dogs, what's the reason behind? Why do you do so? The result shows strong emotional reasons. Over half of them said they feel sorry for roaming dogs or they love dogs. There are also people talking about roaming dogs need my help, and this is my responsibility or everyone's responsibility to take care of them. Also, 40% of the respondents said roaming dogs are a part of the community. We want them to live healthy, and we want our community to be a better place to live too. People also talk about healthy reasons, rabies, those kind of things. To those who do not take care of roaming dogs, we also deep into the reason why. The top reason people raised up was fear. They are afraid of roaming dogs may attack them. They are afraid of roaming dogs may carry diseases that could transfer to human beings. Some people said they don't have time or money. 1 in 5 of all the people who don't take care of roaming dogs said they don't know how to. It's not that they don't want to, they don't know how. And also there are people talking about roaming dogs are not their responsibilities. Only 8% of the people who don't take care of roaming dogs said they don't like dogs. Then we ask all the respondents, if you have the resource or money or time, what do you want to do in the future to help manage roaming dogs in your own community? This is what showed up. So the majority of people, 93 or 92% of the respondents said they would do these things. First, ask their government to create a community dog program. Second, encourage their friends and family to do something. Third, they could do some little things like protect their garbage away so that it doesn't attract dogs. And 92% of people said they want to learn how they can help controlling dog population and rabies in their own community. When we talk about dog bites and rabies, over 65% of all the respondents said they know of some people being bitten in their community, and children are affected most. 20% of all the respondents said they are aware that their community has been affected by rabies, and there's, again, huge difference by country. In Kenya, this number is 31. In Brazil, it's 4. Of course, one of the reasons behind is in Brazil, rabies is no longer a serious disease among the people. And we also asked the people who know of someone being bitten by dogs, what kind of dog was involved, and 69% dog bite incidents come from roaming dogs. But it's not saying that all owned dogs are safe, because 40% of the incidents come from owned dogs. So to summarize, in terms of owned dogs, because of the low acceptance of collaring, registration, and microchipping or tagging, this means that a lot of owned dogs cannot be distinguished from unowned. We don't know whether they're owned dog or not. And if we take into consideration that a lot of owned dogs are allowed to roam on the street, then 30% of all owned dogs could be classified as roaming. But the good thing is dog owners show they're willing to change. 73% said they would like to prevent their dogs from roaming in the future. In terms of roaming dogs, people normally relate roaming dogs with negative description or feelings compared to owned dogs. But people still take care of roaming dogs everywhere we surveyed. Half of the people said yes, they did something. Their actions are mainly driven by compassion and love. There are also a bunch of people who wish to help, but they don't know how. There's definitely a knowledge gap that people don't know how to take care of roaming dogs, how to help with this issue. We have two key learnings. The first one is this research definitely showed the importance of education, not only because there is a knowledge gap, but also 92%, if you remember, 92% of the respondents said they want to learn about how to manage dogs properly. So our participants strongly suggest that more needs to be done about educating on dog care and dog management. There is also a key role for the government to play in dog management. We all know that, but this research showed that 93% of all the respondents would like to ask their government in their community to do something. This is all for my presentation, and we hope this research could provide something interesting for you in the future. And if you have any question about the country level information, please come to me or any of my colleagues, and we will be like to answer these questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.